The story begins with a man named Victor Hale, a man who had built an empire from the ground up. His fried chicken restaurant chain, Golden Feather, was a household name across the country. With over 300 locations, Victor had become a symbol of success. But success had come at a cost. He had grown distant from the very people who made his business thrive. The employees who worked tirelessly in the kitchens and dining rooms, day in and day out. Victor was a man of precision. His sharp suits, polished shoes, and perfectly combed hair gave him an air of authority. But beneath that polished exterior was a man who had started with nothing. He remembered the days when he stood in his grandmother's small kitchen, watching her fry chicken with a secret blend of spices. That recipe had been the foundation of his empire. And now something was wrong. The numbers didn't lie. Customer satisfaction had dropped. Profits were slipping. Victor's executive team had no answers. They blamed it on market trends, competition, and even the weather. But Victor knew better. Something was off, and he was determined to find out what it was. So one evening, Victor made a decision. He would go undercover. He would visit one of his own restaurants as a regular customer. No one would recognize him. He would see for himself what was happening. Victor chose a location in the heart of Dallas, a bustling city where his restaurant was always busy. He put on a worn-out baseball cap, a pair of fake glasses, and a simple flannel shirt. He looked nothing like the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company. He looked like a man who had been driving for hours and needed a good meal. As he walked into the Golden Feather restaurant, the smell of fried chicken hit him like a wave. It was the same smell that had filled his grandmother's kitchen all those years ago. But something felt different. The restaurant was clean, but not spotless. The menus were worn, the lights flickered, and the staff seemed distracted. Victor took a seat in a corner booth, his eyes scanning the room. He noticed the kitchen was understaffed. The dining room was only half full, even though it was dinner time. This wasn't the Golden Feather he knew. A young server named Lily approached him with a smile. "Welcome to Golden Feather. Just one today." Victor nodded, adopting a slight southern drawl. "Yes, ma'am. Been driving all day. Heard y'all have the best fried chicken in Texas." Lily chuckled. "You heard right. What can I get you to drink?" "Sweet tea, please." "Extra sweet," Victor replied. As Lily walked away, Victor continued to observe. The restaurant was running, but it wasn't thriving. The staff moved slowly, the customers seemed indifferent, and the food, well, he would see about that. When his food arrived, Victor's heart sank. The chicken looked perfect, golden brown, crispy, and juicy. But as he took his first bite, he froze. Something was off. The flavor was close, but it wasn't right. It wasn't his grandmother's recipe. Victor's mind raced. How could this be? The recipe was locked away, known only to a handful of people. He took another bite, hoping he was wrong. But he wasn't. The chicken was good, but it wasn't Golden Feather chicken. As he sat there, trying to make sense of it all, he overheard a conversation from the nearby server station. Two employees, Lily and a man named Kyle, were whispering. "I'm telling you, Kyle, we need to be careful. If anyone finds out..." Lily's voice was tense. "Relax," Kyle replied. "No one suspects a thing. The recipe's already gone, and our bank accounts are looking good. Who's going to know?" Victor's blood ran cold. He set his fork down slowly, pretending to be absorbed in his phone. But his mind was racing. The recipe stolen? How? And by whom? He strained to hear more. "Crispy Crown is already rolling it out," Kyle continued. "That's why I wanted to eat there yesterday. They've done a good job with it. Changed it just enough to avoid legal trouble." "You think anyone notices the difference here?" Lily asked nervously. "Please," Kyle scoffed. "These customers couldn't tell the difference between gourmet and gas station chicken. Besides, management doesn't care as long as food costs stay low." Victor's hands clenched into fists under the table. His grandmother's legacy, his company's crown jewel, had been stolen. And these two employees were bragging about it right in front of him. He needed to act, but he couldn't blow his cover. Not yet. He had to find out how deep this conspiracy went. Victor left the restaurant that night with a plan. He would go deeper undercover. He would work in the restaurant, side by side with Lily and Kyle, and uncover the truth. The next morning, Victor returned to the Golden Feather restaurant, this time as a job applicant. He introduced himself as Vince, a down-on-his-luck dishwasher looking for work. The manager, a man named Greg, barely looked up from his computer during the interview. Experience? Greg asked, bored. Worked at a diner in Houston for a few years, Victor replied, mimicking a southern accent. Lost my job when they closed down. Been doing odd jobs since. Greg nodded absently. We need a dishwasher, $12 an hour, no benefits until after 90 days. Can you start today? Yes, sir, Victor said, projecting an air of desperate gratitude. Thank you for the opportunity. For the next 2 weeks, Victor worked in the kitchen, scrubbing pots and mopping floors. His hands grew raw from the harsh cleaning solutions, and his back ached from the long hours. But he kept his eyes and ears open. He learned that Greg, the manager, was involved in the conspiracy. So was Kyle, the cook. And Lily, the server, seemed to be caught in the middle, torn between her conscience and her need for money. Victor also discovered that the stolen recipe had been sold to Crispy Crown, Golden Feather's biggest competitor. But the betrayal went deeper than he had imagined. Someone from his own executive team had leaked the recipe. One evening, as Victor was cleaning the break room, he overheard Greg and Kyle talking. Jacob's getting nervous, Greg said quietly. He wants to speed things up. Why? Kyle asked, annoyed. We've got a good thing going. Quarterly audits coming up, Greg explained. He's worried someone might notice discrepancies in the system logs where he accessed the recipe database. Victor's heart raced. Jacob, his chief operating officer, the man he had trusted for years, the man who had been to his home, shared meals with his family. The betrayal cut deep. Victor knew he had to act fast. He gathered evidence, recordings, emails, and financial records. Then he confronted Greg, Kyle, and Lily in the restaurant. You've been stealing from this company, Victor said, his voice steady but filled with emotion. You've betrayed not just me, but everyone who works here. Everyone who believes in what Golden Feather stands for. Greg and Kyle tried to deny it, but the evidence was overwhelming. Lily broke down in tears, confessing that she had only gone along with it because she needed money for her mother's medical bills. Victor's heart ached for her. He knew what it was like to struggle, to feel like you had no other choice. In the end, Greg and Kyle were fired, and Jacob was arrested for corporate espionage. Lily was given a second chance, and Victor made sure she got the help she needed for her mother's medical bills. The story ends with Victor standing in his grandmother's original restaurant, now a museum. He looked at her portrait, remembering the woman who had taught him the value of hard work, integrity, and family. We protected your legacy, Grandma, he said softly, and we made it even better. The moral of the story is simple. Success is not just about money or power. It's about staying true to your values, treating people with kindness, and never forgetting where you came from. And as Victor walked out into the sunshine, he knew that Golden Feather would not just survive, it would thrive. Because it was built on a foundation of love, integrity, and the belief that everyone deserves a second chance. Before we wrap up, I want to take a moment to thank you for joining us on this emotional journey. Stories like these remind us of the power of kindness, courage, and standing up for what's right. If this story touched your heart, made you think, or inspired you in any way, let us know in the comments below. Tell us where you're watching from, and don't forget to share this story with others. Sometimes, a simple act of sharing can make a huge impact. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and join our community. We've got more heartfelt stories coming your way. Until next time, remember, kindness changes lives. See you soon.